Welcome to the Remember Your Nature podcast. My name is Faith and I am your host. Really grateful that you're here and that you may have an open and curious heart to be able to receive some, I think, potent medicine that I want to speak about today. And to just ground myself here, I am getting used to seeing myself on the camera. And I want to give you a little tour. I got these beautiful earrings from a vintage shop, gold spirals. The same vintage shop. I got this cheetah, I think it's a cheetah, little shirt. And this is a rosary I found in the basement of my house when we were cleaning it out, and it was in my first little girl princess Bible case. So I found two and I gave one to my sister. So just to orient ourselves to the space and acknowledging how interesting this time is that we live in the world, that we are digital and that we are seeing one another and really getting to know one another when we may have never met and never been in physical presence. So hi. I have an idea, knowing about what direction I want to go, but the question is how I'm going to get there. I'd like to start with a song because that maybe will help create some coherence. Go get my drum. This is a drum my mom got me on eBay because she's so sweet, for her birthday, because she knows how important ceremony is to me, and what an incredibly thoughtful gift. Beautiful, it's handmade. Things are so special, you know? Sensuous body, sensuous body, so deep you are, so deep you are. I am more than the first layer of my skin. I am more than the first layer of my skin. Bow down to my essence, I'll bow down to yours. I am more than the first layer of my skin. I am more than the first layer of my skin. Can't you see me? Can't you see me? I am more than the first layer of my skin. I am more than the first layer of my skin. Can't you see me? Can't you see me? I am more than the first layer of my skin. I am more than the first layer of my skin. Meaning that my worth, my inherent value is much more than the first layer of my skin. And that doesn't mean that beauty can't be appreciated, unique beauty and diversity, expression be celebrated and acknowledged, because it is important to recognize our individuality, and that the first layer of our skin, the color of it, the shape of what we inhabit, tells a story of lineage and ancestry and culture, which is important because we learn from one another, and the beauty of every single different tribe and distinction is important. But I am more than the first layer of my skin. But can you see past? Can I see past the first layer of the skin? Can I see past and not identify myself with what I look like, and identify others based on what they look like? I've spent a lot of time in my life feeling like I am the first layer of my skin, that I am the shape of my body, that I am the fat that lives on my body, the different things and characteristics about my body that have been rejected by the larger culture. And I've spent a lot of time being dissatisfied with my body, and I've spent a lot of time and energy trying to change my body and worrying about what I eat, what I don't eat, how I exercise, how I don't exercise, and so much energy going to what do I look like and how are other people perceiving me, and will I be perceived as desirable? Will I be perceived as attractive? Physically. Will I be perceived? Because our cultural messaging is that if we are attractive and we are desirable, then we are worthy. Because underneath of that, if we aren't beautiful by the standards set before us that are made up, underneath of that is this idea that I am not enough. I was talking to my elder about this, and this was like a year ago. And my orientation towards myself from the moment I grew up, or from the moment I was born, and what I have inherited from my maternal line, which is a lot of self-hate and self-denigration. I've always felt not enough and always felt not beautiful. And I grew up very sick and overweight and feeling completely imprisoned inside my body and completely dissociated inside my body. And then I've been on a journey of waking up and knowing that that's not true. And so orienting myself in a way where I have a body and I'm wanting to love it. And I was talking to my elder, and I was like, I just want to feel like so sexy in my body, like just so in love with my body, like, and she was like yes, like that's good, that's a beautiful thing to feel, but you know, the pendulum swing from I hate my body and I hate what I look like to I'm so sexy and I love my body and like all these things, you know, that's still underneath of all that. Like she literally did this underneath all of that the root of that is I am not good enough. I am not enough. And so, I spent a lot of time cultivating a positive relationship with my body, and I believe that that's beautiful, and loving the parts of me that I have perceived to not fit in with the cultural standard of beauty, which again has been made up. And now we see, by example of the Epstein files, that the beauty standards that have been given to us, the beauty standards that have been created by the most powerful men on the planet, whom are pedestaled as, the pinnacle of success in leadership, are literally pedophiles. And what they deem as desirable is a little girl's body. So when you think about that, it's a bit ludicrous when you start to deconstruct that. I feel like there's a lot of energy of like, well, I'm beautiful even though I don't have this, or even though that my belly isn't flat, or that I'm hairless, Like, I am beautiful even though, and it's like you have to like hype yourself up. But the truth is like there's still that adherence to those beauty standards that are completely false and made up, which also places a hierarchy and makes us think hierarchically about bodies, that she's a 5 and she's a 10, I was listening to this spiritual podcast about this, well-known spiritual dude that talks about love and relationships and the sacred masculine and things, and like, no shade to him, but something that he said was like, when you get deeper in the journey, I've dated many women that have been beautiful on the outside but not so beautiful on the inside, and you realize that like maybe it's not like the most important thing that she's a 10. And for me, like, that really gives me like a bit of an ick. Because it's still perpetuating this cycle, like, and reinforcing this psychological orientation that there is a most beautiful and a least beautiful. Like, what I'm interested in is completely deconstructing that, and to be able to witness the human organism as if you would witness a tree, or using nature as a guide to help us see each other in truth and in clarity. Because the truth is that when you witness nature, nothing is ever the same. There is no copies. Everything is unique. Now there might be like near copies, but everything has its unique blueprint, fingerprint, and we wouldn't judge one branch as being more worthy and valuable, than another one. One might have a function. There's like differentiation based on things like that, how strong it is, how young it is. But as I've started to understand this, and to get out of my own head so much about my own body and like what it looks like and how it's changing, and stop fixating so much upon what it is, I have gained so much energy back in my life, because I feel at peace with how it is. And somatically, as a tool, as I get more and more in my body and I start to orient myself from the inside out, I start to really connect and live from my rooted self, from my body, from my feeling body. I stay in my feeling body, and I regularly bring myself back to my feeling body when I feel that I have oriented myself too much in this center, in that head, thinking, intellect. I'm at peace. I'm truly at peace with whatever my body is manifesting as and appearing as. And I'm decentralizing. I'm decentralizing body image from my psychological orientation and from my identity, what I think about as, the most important constituents of me. And I feel like this is the sad case too. I mean, it's unfortunate in my perception that in a culture that focuses so much on body image and what we look like, we spend so much time developing this external self, like so much energy and time picking and manipulating ourselves and trying to mold ourselves and shape ourselves so that we will finally be enough when we in one moment in our life reach that thing, then it inevitably changes. But in a culture that focuses so much on image, we're underdeveloped in every other way. Like being human and like the capacity of this brain that we have and we get to use and discover with is fucking incredible. Like the level of intelligence that is available to us, like within our bodies and within our minds, is incredible. And our capacity to create and innovate and invent is like astounding. It's astounding, and we feel that when we go and we see these famous artists, or like see Michelangelo's the big statue, forget the name, but we see these artists and these scientists and these inventors and innovators that have created incredible things just from the development, our internal development, and pouring energy into creation, pouring energy into learning, pouring energy into the gifts that we have, and following our passions and following what makes us curious, and answering or asking questions that no one else is asking, or really inquiring about one tiny niche thing because it feels like you really are supposed to. And we are so beautiful and have so much beauty within us through our capacity to create and through our contact that we make with the world and through the curiosity that we have. But it's sad because all that energy is being drained because it's just being poured into like our one first layer of skin. Now, I love expression. I do. And I love feeling good and feeling confident, and that's beautiful. But like, I've been working on not letting it like overwhelm me, and to choose what, is exciting to wear. And also developmentally, this is where I'm at. Like, I'm 24, and young people who are finding their way, I think it's only natural that we're a bit, egocentric because we're finding our identity. But I mean, I see this so much, like older women that do so much work on themselves. No shade, no shame, but, you know, are worrying so much. Actually, this is like, when I say that, this, I think this is pervasive, because this is a symptom of our culture, and especially for women. You know, the effects of patriarchy make us, you know, somatically and psychologically obsessed with whether we are we fit into the cultural mold and the cultural standards of beauty, because that makes us, that protects us, that keeps us safe. And so in a way, you know, that's a really compassionate perspective to have, in terms of, we are fixated so much because we feel unsafe and because we want to belong, but it's always going to be empty if we are attracting partners and attracting friendships and relationships that's just solely based upon what one person, what you look like and what the other person looks like. It actually is super deep. I feel like it's really deep, and it's really pervasive. Yeah, we're super seduced by the body, and we're super seduced by physical looks. So now, like, what do we do about this, and what are some tools that we can use to help bring our energy back? And I would say really notice how much time we are putting into thinking about what we look like and how other people perceive us. And consciously practice knowing, like, okay, when I leave the house, I'm very fixated upon what my appearance is today. And I encourage you to go out and know what it feels like and experience what it feels like to just be in your body. To be in your body and to stay oriented from your inside. Like, for example, today, you know, I put on this outfit, I just like went for a walk out in public and just had my headphones on and practiced being in my own internal orientation and really not paying much, having situational awareness, but not paying much attention to the other people around me, and yeah, not really being worried about being perceived, because I just feel good. And I feel like I'm in my own essence. I feel like I'm taking up the space of my own essence. And so that gives me a lot more power, and yeah, I'm not like holding or clenching, especially in my belly, when I am in the presence of other people. So yeah, and I think too, being able to return to a childlike acceptance of the body. If you witness a child, they're not concerned at all about what they look like. They're free, they're moving as their body is calling them to move. They're, you know, adjusting their clothes, and they're not so self-conscious about how they're taking up space and moving around in space. And, you know, I really don't believe that any child, you know, is like before they develop self-awareness or before they're given any ideas that, you know, what they look like or how they manifest in the world is wrong or bad or shameful, which is a projection given to them by media or by parents or whoever, friends. But there's just this complete acceptance. There's this peace that is our birthright to inhabiting our bodies and being at peace with however it manifests and whatever we choose to do with it or not do with it. And that brings me hope, and I experience that in my own life, and it's incredibly freeing. It's incredibly liberating. And I truly believe that if we all just find some peace with how we feel and we start to make relational decisions based on how the energy is making us feel. If we can see past the body and really hear who the other person is, what they value and what they're saying and what they stand for, and we can embody that within our own selves too, we will really be able to achieve and appreciate authenticity in relationships and true intimacy a lot more. To just feel free to express exactly how we feel called to, and to create a culture of safety and non-judgment and the celebration of diversity of expression, and to value and integrity and sincerity first, rather than just getting stuck on the first layer of skin. That feels good. Hope it helps. Much love.